Okay, it's literally so cozy outside. We've got snow on the ground. And it's just absolutely beautiful. I'm enjoying it for the moment. I lost my voice and spent the first part of my January incubating and canceling all my appointments because my voice is literally how it's my livelihood. But got it back, and I wanted to talk about, and I got it back right in time of like kind of my favorite transit this year. We've got a full moon in Cancer coming up. I'm going to do a reading around that. It's going to be super emo, as you would expect, but around something that you wouldn't expect. That said, this year's going to be fucking wild. It's going to be, there are literally 5 planets going into transit. They're basically transitioning into an entirely different sign, right? There's like a couple going into Aries, which is going to be super interesting in March and April. But I'm most excited about the nodal shifts that are happening this year. We've got lunar nodes that are both shifting an entire axis into Pisces and Virgo. Now, if you know your birth chart, you probably have seen the nodes somewhere, and it's the North Node and the South Node. And if I were to kind of distill it down, the nodes are like 2 halves of a person's karmic journey. I personally, from what Spirit has revealed to me in all of my readings and in my meditations, is this isn't like a one and done, or we don't just get one life and we're like, oh, I'm going to go like join Sky Daddy now. That's not how it is. Basically, reincarnation is the thing. We have a story arc that guides us from life to life to life. We all have our own very unique and special arcs that we learn. But the nodes specifically are the karmic journey within a life, and that's how you can tap into it and navigate it when you look at your birth chart. Now, the North Node is where you're going. It's kind of like the mystery. It's like the end of the destination, right, from the journey. And the South Node is where you've been. Now, what's really interesting is tonight I was pulling for myself, and 3 different decks said the same fucking message over and over and over again. And it was literally like, let go of the past. It's like, step into your spirituality, step into your purpose, almost like asking me to reconfirm, reaffirm why I'm here, and make the commitments and commit the energy that I need to make it happen. But then it was also like releasing the past. And I was like thinking, I'm like, damn, I'm like, what else do I have to release and let go of? And, when I think about it, when I do a lot of my readings, I do actually dip into my past and I revisit, traumas from my childhood and my teenage years, or narratives that I'm letting go of. This transit that is literally happening tomorrow, and it's an 18-month transit. So if you're doing the work with a capital W, you will feel that shift maybe starting tomorrow. Maybe you start seeing signs and synchronicities of where you're going, or maybe you're going to start seeing signs and synchronicities of what you need to let go of if you haven't really done that work around it. I took some notes, so I may kind of like divert away from it, but divert away from this reading and making eye contact. With the North Node, where we're going, it's in Pisces, right? Pisces is all about spirituality. It's about interconnectedness. We are one. Like I was just saying before, it's like we're almost, in the bigger picture, we are God, goddess energy. We co-create as equals with nature, with consciousness, with each other. Pisces is all about compassion, interconnectedness, and oneness, right? That's where we're going. That's what we're leaning into. And whatever that means to you, whatever it takes for you to identify where you are lacking in compassion, where you are lacking in interconnectedness, that is the journey that you're moving towards in the next 18 months. Now, when it comes to what you're leaving behind, which is really interesting, and that's what was coming through in my readings a lot, the South Node going into Virgo, it's letting go of pragmatism, overthinking, and hypercriticism. What is that little voice that keeps, that little voice that sits on your shoulder and says, Krista, you're not deserving of this. You can't do this. Or, look at how stupid you are. Whatever it is, like whatever that voice is and where it came from, that needs to be something that we move away from. And it's almost like, stop re-traumatizing yourself. Like I think that sometimes also as human beings, instead of letting go of something completely and fully, we'll let go like 95%, but like the other 5%, like we want to kind of victimize ourselves with it. So we have something to complain about if life is really good. Let it the fuck go. That is the big thing with the South Node, is complete release. I'm going to look at my notes again. Basically, the North Node is about evolution and soul growth, right? Offering ourselves to a greater compassion, wholeness, and mainly service, service of ourselves and service of others. I'm a very vocal person, I'm very political. And the one thing I've been seeing, of course, and we've all been front row seat to, is a window to watching our world in chaos. Literally climate change, brought on by big oil, by industries and corporations that prioritize profit over people. Seeing an administration come into play that would quite honestly really like to see us revert back to the 1950s, where the white heteronormative masculine was in charge and the feminine was in basically like back in the role where they belong, in a way, in a sense, if we're really looking into that patriarchal archetype. When you look at the administration under the US, to be honest with you, the administration of a lot of other countries that are coming more forward into a hyper-conservative standard, and then also looking at our world and where corporations have gotten us, it's kind of hard to watch and it's hard to see. Now, it may feel like we are out of control as individuals, but with this axis shift, with this 18-month shift in awareness and consciousness and in healing, to be honest with you, when you think about it and you think about like the 1% that has control of everything, sometimes we forget that we are the 99, right? We are the 99%. We do have a voice. We do have a presence. We are God, goddesses, those energies that do contribute, and we basically outweigh all of them. And if we look at it, it's funny. It's like I talk about the Catholic Church at a certain point, and yes, I know I'm like bouncing around like a pinball, but I always think about being a former Catholic and completely reformed and healed from that. I think about why is it such a success, right? And it's such a success in the same way that capitalism is, right? There is 1% in charge, and there's 99% of the underserved that are basically, come together. It's like not 10 people donating $10 million each. It's 30 million people giving $1, right? And it's it kind of weighs out in the end. It works the same with this node shift and this healing shift, is that we as humanity are in evolution, in soul growth, if we're really doing it right. Now, if you're not healing, fuck the nodes, you're not going to get this at all, right? But the point being is that there's an opportunity, and this is the biggest to me transit shift this year that is going to be happening, is the North and South nodes. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to see how this applies to you, right? I just gave you a big global, message. I'm going to pull 2 cards on it. But I want you to look at your birth chart and look at where your house in Pisces is. And that is the house that it lives in. And then also your house in Virgo. So for example, I'm a Pisces sign, sun sign. And I also have a Mars, unfortunately, in Pisces, where it's the most uncomfortable. But mine is in the 11th house, around community, social groups, and financial success. That is where I create my shift. And to be honest with you, I'm used to being the voice. I'm used to being the beacon. I just have to kind of recommit to that. What I'm leaving behind is in my 5th house, which is pleasure, joy, and creativity, which I was like, what the fuck does that mean? What it means is actually being a sober person, thinking about where my pleasure and my joy used to come from, and letting go of those things that used to define me. Now, I know that it's about letting go of the past and shifting forward. I have to think about what are some ways that I used to express and explore joy and pleasure, and how is that shifting and changing, right? Discernment. So that said, I want to just do a card on specifically the North Node. What is a main theme that we can move towards? What is our purpose and our soul growth? You want it to come out? My voice just cracked like a 12-year-old boy. 6 of Wands. moving towards the collective celebration. You know, it's like wands are passion, but it's almost like a collective celebration of like when we accomplish something together. Remember, like post COVID, post hurricane for me, soon to be post fire for Los Angeles. Like, you know, it's like, think of the things that fortify us and bring us closer together. That is more that feeling of oneness. Now, what we're moving away from that almost flew into the fire. Ooh, I like this. King of Swords. How do you allow your traumas, so swords are trauma, how do you allow your traumas to define you, right? How, like, what is the biggest trauma that you kind of like drag around? You know, it's like that, remember that 5% that I was talking about of like, we heal 95, but then the other 5, we're just going to use that and drag it around like as our identity. What is the 5% of like your trauma that you're still dragging around and letting identify you by, right? King of Swords energy. I like that message a lot. But that said, I know that I kind of just like doled out a lot, and this is a super long reading, but it's been a minute and I had a lot to say, and I'll probably have even more to say about the Cancer, the full moon in Cancer. But I just want you to think about this lunar node shift. It is the karmic journey that we are on, where we are heading towards and what we're moving around. This is literally happening. This axis shift is happening tomorrow and is going to end in July. Think about the things that you need to move towards, and think about the things that you need to release and leave in the past. Leave in the past. All right. Good luck and enjoy this beautiful weather that we're having tonight. And take care, everybody. Thank you.